Here we are. I'm
Here
here
we
from
are. Hello,
Australia. And
everyone.
hey, and where are you from? Where are you calling in from today, David?
I'm calling in from my office in Vienna.
In
And
Vienna,
you?
Austria. I'm here from Australia, from Brisbane, down under. And what are we talking about today is what if every problem is a possibility in disguise? Every single one is what we're speaking about today. So,
Oh, well, I love to talk. What if every problem is a possibility in disguise? If I had actually looked at every problem in my life as a real problem, I wouldn't be here anymore. I'm sorry. So I can only inspire people to go, you know what? Life is too beautiful to look at problems. And if you truly have the the gift and also the guts to go, wait a minute, what if that wasn't a problem? What is the hidden gift in that? Your life will change, just saying. So,
and
Chris,
I have to give you acknowledgement for that, David, because less than 1 week ago, I was actually with our friend Dr. David Kubis in Rome, Italy, having a wonderful time. Both of us wandering through a city that we know well. And there was actually four of us. And I was having a day where I was a little bit stressed. Nothing was quite turning out the way I had hoped for and I'd planned for. We were being tourists that day and going to see the Pantheon. And I had pre-booked our tickets because you have to go at an allotted time and all of these things. And nothing about this trip was going to plan. Everything was a problem. And what was so beautiful was you, David, no matter what was occurring, you just kept looking around and going, but look where we are. We're in Rome and it is so beautiful and it is so amazing. And isn't this wonderful? And that was not how I was choosing to see things in that moment. And it was wonderful to hear you do that.
well, I have to tell you my side of the story. Chris organized these tickets for the Pantheon, and we had to be there at 11 to get in with all these millions of tourists. And of course, as someone does, I ran late. And I actually was so looking forward to stroll around through Rome, have a sandwich here, have a coffee there, and really have an easy day. However, as always, I was late. So we arrived 5 minutes to 11, rushing there, really me being stressed. And then it turned out that Chris just bought vouchers to get in, but not the real tickets. And the guy at the entrance, when we actually were at the front, said, well, you have to go like 10 minutes walk from here and get the real tickets. And then I was like, wow, so cool. I get to stroll around. I can actually have a coffee. I can buy a sandwich. And then we actually walked to the ticket office and they said, oh, yeah, you have a window of 2 hours. So everything actually turned out to be beautiful, no stress. And as I decided to show up, and that's why I could easily be that no stress for Chris, because
So basically, it's your fault that the tickets turned out the way they turned out.
you can look at it like that, or you go, really, what's right about that I'm not getting? And I think this is the question that I would love to share with all of you. If you want to start looking at all these things that don't go quite well or appear as a problem, start with the question, what's right about that I'm not getting? What's right about that I'm not getting? This opens the door for you to see the gift that could be hidden under the so-called problem that just showed up. That question for me is a lifesaver.
Absolutely. And that is gold, being willing to look at everything as a potential gift and not as a problem, but as a possibility in disguise. And we also have a mutual friend that a lot of our listeners out there probably know, which is Stephen Bowman, who is also here in Australia. And he has a really similar take on this topic that I wanted to share with people because his point of view is that every problem is a possibility with a point of view attached. And what he means by that is when you take a fixed point of view or you decide something is, that's all it can be. But if you take away the solidity of your fixed point of view about something, you can take anything that is a quote unquote problem and turn it into not just a possibility, but a gift. It can be a source of revenue. It can be like, say, for example, you have something going on in your business that seems to be a problem because you are deficient in a particular area. If you stop seeing it as a problem, but as a possibility, you can start exploring different ways to approach that situation so that it is a gift and a blessing and a possibility. And I see you do that. I know I do that. And that's like with your question, what's right about this we're not getting, and also looking at that, the point of view that you're using to turn it into a problem, nothing can ever really stop you.
Nothing can stop you, but the one thing I would like you all to get, if you keep going, you will move things on and then things will change. Our amazing, beautiful, intelligent friend, Stephen Bowman, he gave me a definition of problem once, which is slightly different. He said, a problem is just a situation that requires change. And that also clicked for me because the way I look at that, and I deal with a lot of problems. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a lawyer. I'm also the international lawyer of access consciousness, dealing with all the legal stuff in 178 countries. And oh my God, we face a lot of problems. But I don't look at it as a solidity of a problem. This is a problem. I also don't ignore it. A lot of airy-fairy spiritual people tend to go, oh, everything's fine. That's not what we are talking about. Be aware of what is, but then you might not be able to change a situation or to change a certain fact. I love the term factual matters. Yes, you missed your flight. No, it won't come back when you think positive. And it and it might not crash, so you have the excuse, oh my God, universe saved me from dying. That doesn't have to be a greater reason behind every problem. You can go, yes,
Mm,
that's a problem. And what needs to change now so I can move on? And that's for me the pragmatic
okay.
view.
That is so cool. And I want to share with everyone here too listening another story. Um, because you and I were both present for this conversation with Gary at the castle that totally it changed my world completely. I don't know if you remember this, but you and I were up in Gary's room in the attic. Gary loves to tell people that at our castle in Italy, he stays in the servants' quarters because he finds that funny. And we were talking about the times in our lives where we've been like upset about something or allowed something to blow us off course. And what I've always found so inspiring about Gary is that never really occurs for him. No matter what's going on, he never gets upset and he never gets derailed, for lack of a better word. And I know for myself, I can let myself get derailed if things don't go the way I want them to. And he said to us, and it took me a minute after he said it. He said, well, the difference between me and you boys is I know where I'm going. And I
Yeah,
went, oh, wow. Okay. What do you mean? And he said, I'm clear about what my target is with life. I'm clear about the world that I want to create, and I'm clear about how I want to live. And so nothing fucking stops me. You only let things stop you. You only let them blow you off course if you don't know where you're going and you don't know what your target is. And I was like, huh, that is so true. Things only become a problem and they only become an upset if you let them. But if you know what your target is and what you want your life to be, it's so much easier to make the choices that match where you're going. And anyone or anything that is a distraction, that is not a contribution to that, it isn't propelling you further in that direction, it's so easy to just go, not relevant. Next.
that. That is such a beautiful energy. Not relevant next. And it doesn't mean that you dismiss it or dismiss something. No, you are aware that's not relevant for what I desire to create as my life. And what I
Mm,
loved about this conversation, Gary has this long-term vision of his life. He never gets stuck in short-term results. So
yeah.
when Gary misses a flight, he doesn't go into anger and, oh my God, everything's over. No, I can take the next flight. I'll arrive a day later. Why would arriving a day later be relevant if I look at the next 30, 40, 50 years of life that I still have to create what I desire? That overall helicopter view of your life, what are you living for? What are you living for? What do you like to create as your life? And is it that important, those tiny little elements, missing a flight, losing money, investing in the wrong project, whatever problems may show up, is it relevant? But compared
Mm.
to the vision of you, who you want to be in the world, not compared to, I don't know, your current financial situation, tomorrow, next month's rent, expanding that out to the life you desire to have. Oh my God, that conversation blew my mind.
Yep. Yep. It's so amazing how he can do that with one sentence. Just he was like,
Yes.
the difference between you and me is I know where I'm going.
So,
And yeah,
do you guys, well, how about you asking yourself, to all of you who are listening now, do you know where you're going? And if not, I didn't, but I started being present with that question in my life. Where am I going? And I started pondering, what is it that I like my life to be like, but my entire life, not just tomorrow or the next year. It inspired me to start having that idea and vision and demand in my whole world. And I'm still asking, okay, what am I here for?
yeah, because it's creativity on a whole new level then too, isn't it, David? Like you and I both, I know, are incredibly creative people and are really good at facing challenges and taking the problems and going, how can I strategically use this to get around it or create a different outcome? But that's just handling today. That's just handling whatever is on the plate right now, or what I sometimes refer to with our businesses. Okay, sometimes I have to be Smokey the Bear, and some of you might not know the reference of Smokey the Bear, but in Canada we had this cartoon character who was teaching everyone about the dangers of fires, and he was always stomping out fires. So in my business, I always have to stop myself and go, oh, am I actually creating or am I just stomping out fires? I'm preventing disasters and dealing with today. But what he's talking about, when you actually know where you're going, it's not just about stomping out fires and finding creative solutions to today's issues, but as you just said, way bigger picture.
And what I love about it, it includes stomping out the fire. It includes handling daily tasks because once you know what you like to have as your life, once you have that clarity and that commitment, I'll go there. You won't get lost in micromanaging everything, but you also don't ignore when something requires to be handled. So it's this beautiful co-creation of all possibilities. And sometimes, yes, a problem needs to be handled and you have to be there. You have to take the phone. You have to have that conversation. But it's not the only way to live. It's
And sometimes, yeah, not only that, you have to handle the fire, you have to take the phone call, but sometimes as well it gives you the foresight to see that the shit you're dealing with right now is actually getting you closer to what you want.
that. And that's where the problem becomes this contribution or the possibility that it truly is. It makes you aware. And that's the gift of everything. If clarity and gaining awareness was one of the goals, God, we gain so many awarenesses. We learn so much. I don't want to say we learn so much through problems because there are way more fun ways to learn. I like to say at least you gained an awareness. And then you can choose different in the future. And
Mm,
that that's the beauty of all this, that you cannot really make a mistake because you will always gain an awareness, and then you can choose something different in the future. And your life is not over now, and it hopefully won't be over in a year or two. So, well, look at how many years of life, of creativity, of fun, of joy, of business do you actually have left? For me,
yeah.
40 years. I was like, wow, that's it. Why not?
Excuse me, 40 years? That's it?
Well, I want to retire.
Oh, you're so full of shit.
No,
But okay, so wait. That day that we were in Rome, I had with me a lover of mine, and I will never forget. We had a conversation that day too that really showed me a lot of what you're talking about right now. He was talking about one of his past relationships and how it didn't work out. And I said, "Well, what do you mean it didn't work out?" And he said, "Well, it only lasted about 6 months." And I went, "Wait a minute. Why does that mean it didn't work out? Because it didn't last forever?" And he went, "Oh, yeah. For me, in order for something to work out, it especially in the world of relationships, they should have this longevity and they should go for years and years and years and years and years. But obviously, it was a failure because it only lasted 6 months. But with what we're trying to, I guess, show people here or talk about, it's clear that you've got to look at everything, even those things, and stop looking at anything as a failure or as a shortcoming. But what did it create? What did it actually show you as an awareness or teach you about yourself or whatever?
And that doesn't only apply to a relationship. How many people out there judge themselves for constantly having the desire to change their job or change the university subject? My little sister, her birthday was on Sunday, and I think it's so funny because she always, every 6 months, she finds the one job that will be the job until the end of her life. But every 6 months, she goes, you know what, I'm done with this. I want something new. And I am the only one who always encourages her and go for it. Go for it. You have incredible experience in so many areas of life, and you are not tired of exploring new areas. And the funny thing is, she's always concerned that with changing her job every 6 months, she can't present her CV anymore. And this Sunday, because we had the conversation again, I asked her, "So, Truth, you're 45 years old now. You started this when you were 18. Have you ever been asked for your CV when you started a new job?" And she looked at me, "No." I said, "Why would you care about your CV?" And she said, "No, because," she said, "by coincidence, I fall into the next job." And I said, "Well, maybe that's not coincidence. Maybe that's your enthusiasm and your ask for something different that will always make sure you have something else you enjoy." So that that is the gift and the joy of living. And
Mm,
that's what I would like to share with you. If you are one of those who like to change things a lot, like where they live, their relationship, their job, their business, the country they live. I know people who move to other apartments every 8 months, every year. And I am one of those. I think I moved 11 times in the last 15 years. And every time I move into a new apartment, I go, "Oh my God, this is it." I know it's not. So,
I think that's why most people, when they move into an apartment or buy a new house and they renovate it, as soon as they're done renovating, they almost always sell. They almost always go, I'm done. I want to move on. Because that's the thing that we actually care about. We care about the creation. We care about the pursuing the possibility and seeing something come to fruition. Having it is actually really not that interesting to us. But the story about your sister is brilliant because, what we're here to talk about today. What if every problem is a possibility in disguise? How many people out there listening think the problem is them? They think the problem is that they are inconsistent and can't stick to one career and move from job to job rather than do what your sister's doing and explore. Like one of my absolute favorite authors has always been Oscar Wilde. And not just because he was gay, but Oscar Wilde said, if you want to be a grocer, or if you want to be a dentist, or if you want to be a lawyer, or if you want to be a doctor, you will inevitably become it, and that is your curse. But if you choose the dynamic life, the artistic life, every day you'll have to ask yourself, who is it that I want to be? And what is it that I want to be? And that is the greatest gift.
That's beautiful. And that's so inspiring for those who are made wrong for being, very flippy, changing all the time, never being consistent. Being consistent works for certain kind of people who like to be consistent. But if you're not one of those who like to be consistent, don't judge yourself for having no consistency. Enjoy the creativity you all truly are. And bringing that further on to the conversation, what if every problem was a possibility in disguise? If you function from what adventure can I have today? What new areas can I explore in my life? Or just as simple as what else is possible today I've never considered. You will never really face a problem because you will always be thriving on that edge of change that will create something that you enjoy. And that, my dear friend, that's worth living for.
I totally agree. And I think with that, we should let the people go. We should just leave them to ponder these questions we've given them. I know that this is a series of lives, and tomorrow we've got two other dynamic and wonderful speakers coming on. I believe it's Sarah Watt and Anna from Saudi Arabia who will be coming on live the same time as this to talk about all
No,
sorts
it's a
of things.
different
No,
time.
different
It's
time.
just
Okay.
us. We are different. The problem with us is that you are in a different time zone.
Ah, I see.
We
Because
just
I'm in
moved, so
Australia.
we just moved it.
Yeah. Oh well. But yes, I always enjoy talking to you, David, because to me you are so inspiring and I adore you so much.
I do as well. It's such a gift to have you in my life, and I can't wait to see you, hopefully in Rome or somewhere else again.
Exactly. And tomorrow's live is at 10 p.m. Central European time. So we
Jump
changed it
on,
all for me.
jump on, enjoy. And I think that was it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and enjoy the rest of this series. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.